I want to thank you for taking the 10 minutes it's going to take you to go through this slideshow and learn about some habits of thinking. So here's my story, and don't you know, everyone has a story. And here is mine. Quickly, there it is. When I first became a realtor back in 2003, I had no idea what I was doing. I felt lost and confused, and there's so much to learn. And I can't say I was the most computer literate. And I came from the fitness and beauty industry, and I had taken a small business course, but I didn't have the best business acumen, and I didn't have a lot of skills, really. I did have some relationship building experience, but that's about it. The brokerage I in was okay, but what I really needed was a lot of hand holding. I needed someone to lean into. I needed a mentor. I just needed more. And after making it through transactions by luck, purely by luck, I learned all about having a database and all about the contracts and keeping files together and building a personal team as I developed that. Somehow, I made top achievers, but I literally stumbled my way through the year. And I set higher goals for myself the next year, but never could get past a certain point. I found coaching, and with the coaching companies, I learned more and more skills. I learned how to cold call, what to say. I got some scripts. I developed better systems for keeping in touch with my clients and with coworkers. I learned how to work more efficiently and continued to hone my skills. However, I was so inconsistent, and I wasn't managing my money very well, and I just kept hitting a ceiling, if not in one area, in another. And the tasks all worked as long as I worked them. As long as I was working, that was fine. I read so many self-help books because all I was doing was getting distracted, and I thought, man, there's just something wrong with me. I spent in the last 21 years well over $200,000 on coaching. And on one of my coaches 4 years ago, a coach came back into my life, and she said, you know what, you need to take this Habit Finder assessment, and you'd be a great Habit Finder coach. Well, I did. And I'd taken all kinds of personality tests, the DISC, Myers-Briggs, 16 personalities, Enneagram, love languages, heritage profile, and other things to find out more about myself and really how to work with myself. Is that what we want to do? Well, the Habit Finder revealed to me that I had low self-worth. And I thought, man, that's crazy. Low self-worth. I'm confident when I do the tasks, I actually get things done and have the results that they say. But I wasn't consistent, and something just kept getting in my way. So I went through the Habit Finder program, and what I learned was I was able to identify specific thoughts and thought patterns that were holding me back, that were literally getting in my way. And that's when the journey began. That's when the adventure began. So of course there's more to the story, but this became my journey that I called the healing journey. And I won't tell you that it was instantaneous and within 6-8 weeks that everything turned around, but I will tell you that there was definitely a shift in my awareness of my thought patterns, which really, that's what I wanted. Well, one of the things I learned going through this program was really how we think and where we start thinking, where we have habits. And our habits of thinking really start within our brain stem, kind of. Our brain stem is where everything happens that we don't think about. Our heart beats, our blood flows, we breathe. That kind of stuff happens within our brain stem. And then we go up onto our diencephalon, if I pronounce that right. And that's where we feel pressure, where our sensory things are processed. The next thing is it goes up to our limbic system. And that is, that's the area where if we take certain drugs, those chemicals are kind of affected in there, where our sexual desires come from in our limbic system. And then it goes up to our cerebral cortex. In our cerebral cortex, that is where the highways are built, that the highways of our thought pattern that come from the ground up happen. And that's where our habits of thinking happen. then our emotions. We have personality, and our behavior, our actions, which bring us results. Now, when we're talking with somebody else or communicating even with ourselves, we kind of go from results. We start at the top, our actions, which we look at results, and we go to actions, our behavior, which dominates our personality, and our emotions, our habits of thinking, and goes down. Well, when we communicate with somebody else, or we're trying to talk with somebody else, they start thinking the same way we think, through our brainstem, through their dicephalon, for their limbic system, through their cortex, for their habits of thinking, from their experiences. They have emotions and a personality. They have certain behaviors. They have actions, and they have results. And so when we're communicating, it'd be nice if we could communicate, cortex to cortex, but we don't always do that. We run the gamut of going through all these things in every conversation that we have, and especially with ourselves. I mean, we spend so much time in our head that sometimes it's nice to have somebody help us get out of there. Is it that we're really after? Really, what is it that we're after? I think we're after results, which equal the end goal, and whatever that may be from specific actions. And actions equal our tasks, and what we focus on more to accomplish and try to change. And this is where a lot of coaching programs, the things that they focus on, the actions and the results, based on our behavior, how we show up in public, based on our culture scape, how we grew up, what our views are. And our personality is often determines how we handle our life and deal with our behavior and our actions and our emotions. And our emotions are controlled by our habits of thinking. And our habits of thinking come from past remembered experiences. And those are the things that we can focus on and we can change. So when we are measuring our thoughts or our personality, there's two different sciences. There's the inductive science, and that's what most tests are: subjective personality assessments. The MMPI, the DISC profile, Myers-Briggs, the Enneagram, all those are basically personality tests and teach us how we can work within our personality types. Deductive science goes beyond personality and mathematically measures how a person thinks. And this is really cool because it's a disruptive tool that allows us to go below the surface of personality and behavior and to have a clear and meaningful discussion regarding the habits of thinking that drive both. 6 slides show how we are looking, how our thought patterns affect us. The first 3 talk about how we look and see ourselves, and the following 3 are how we look and see the outside world. So the first one, this habit, my dreams, this habit of thinking, is getting a clear and having the motivation to literally create your dream. Joy. Are we really enjoying life's journey? Now, what I would like to also emphasize is just because something is red doesn't mean it's bad, and just because something is green doesn't necessarily mean it's great. What it means is that when we're standing at the top of a mountain peak, that's where we're like in our greenhood, we like to say. And we have a clear vision, 360-degree view of all of our thoughts. When we're climbing up one side of the mountain, we only see one side of things. We only see one side of the valley. We only see a portion of that picture. And depending on how many trees are in the way or rocks or things, depends on how much of that one side we see, and we might be a little under-focused. When we climb over to the other side of the mountain, again, we only see a portion, just a small portion of what those thought patterns are. We might be a little over-focused on that side, and that's all the red, yellow, orange means. Self. It just impacts how do you see yourself. 3 slides, they focus on how we look outside the world, how we see the world from our point of view. People. How do we impact people? How do we feel about work? How do we embrace the structure within our life? And when we're going through a full coaching program, we talk about and focus on those 6 habits of thinking. People. We learn to have healthy, happy, healthy relationships, loving relationships with other people. We dream. We get to learn to mentally create what it is that we want, visualizing that. And then we get to do the physical creation. How is it that we can work, the work part of that, in structure? How does it fit into our life? How in our business? Do we embrace structure? Do we rebel against it? Enjoy. Are we going to enjoy the journey, or is it just going to be horrible? And last, our self-worth, knowing that we're enough to let our light shine authentically. And of course, people always ask, what's the difference between a therapist and a coach? A therapist deals with big T, middle T, or medium trauma, little t trauma, and they help you get through that. Coaching is when we understand and recognize that we might have some thought patterns that are getting in the way. And coaching helps to move those thought patterns in a direct way. We might not know what task to do next, and coaching just helps you move forward in those tasks. It's somebody just coming along by your arm. Like I said in my story, I needed somebody to take by the arm and walk me through certain things. And here's my offer for you. Take the assessment. It's free. Go to my website, www.nadinemusic.com. Make sure you spell it right. And start here. Press start here. And it'll take you to a sign-in page. Fill it out. The assessment takes between 15 and 20 minutes. And it's best to do it when you're relaxed and not distracted. The results will come right to your email, and you have the opportunity to open it up and look through it and go through it in the privacy of your own home. If you would like more and you'd like to schedule an appointment, feel free to schedule an appointment with me, and we'll set aside 45 to 60 minutes, and that's $100. And we will go over that assessment, find out how those thought patterns might be affecting your life. And we can talk about other coaching programs I have. But man, start there. If at any time you have any questions, you can email me at nadine@nadinemusic.com or call and text me. But visit my website, see what we can have. Take that assessment. I know you'll find it really rewarding.